a smarter player, but maybe more experienced player, knowing what he can and can't do?
I think the answer to the second part of the question is pretty obvious. I think he's learned a lesson and understands perhaps the rules a little bit better, and knowing that there's a time to really get involved for teammates, but there's probably a better way of doing it than he did. And he knows that. He's a really bright young man. You know, when the suspension came out, I spoke on the want and the need to take care of teammates, but also how, you know, it has to be done the right way. And he's such a good player that we can't afford to have him suspended for elongated or long-term periods throughout his career. We've got to keep him playing and keep him developing.
Is that just up to just youthful enthusiasm, I guess, getting caught in the moment?
I think that's probably fair to say. That's exactly it. You know, he's trying to do the right thing and probably cross the line a little bit.
It's a fine line because you want guys to go right to the line, and if you want a guy to go to the line every now and then, they're going to cross the line. How do you, is it just experience more than anything, but how do you ensure that you don't temper, that you don't rein him in too much? How's that balance?
Well, we haven't, you know, we didn't have a summit and, you know, call in doctors and sit down and psychiatrists or anything like that. We just explained to them what the rules were, first of all. Sometimes we err as a staff to explain to kids coming out of junior, you know, instigator rules and that type of stuff. So we clarified the rules and told them to get out and work hard and practice and get ready to play again. So there wasn't anything over the top done with that situation.
The Blues have been a bad matchup for the last few years for this group. 2 competitive games this year, but still not on the side you want. How do you approach this team, obviously on their back end, and then their skill up front with their size? How's the way to break down the St. Louis Blues for your team?
Well, we had the back end part, we had dress rehearsal because Nashville does, you know, a lot of the similar things. So we just played a team that can hurt you from the back end and create a lot from there. And, you know, as far as up front, I see them being a lot like Anaheim, a lot like Los Angeles. Those teams that can hold on to pucks, use their big size, their strength, get to the blue paint. And it'll be a test for us as it was earlier in the year. I'd like to think that we've improved. We've lost some players to injury that would be nice to see in this type of environment. I remember saying I think we played St. Louis 1 and 4. And at that time I was hoping, you know, St. Louis 140 and 82 would be ideal because you'd see where you're at. Little did I know we were going to drop like flies as far as injuries go, and you know, so we can't see our actual group against them. But the guys that are playing, it'll be a good test for them.
Do you? This is a little off topic. If I ask you something about goalie equipment, and just you've seen so many changes. It looks like another one. What do you think of the possibility of it happening to maybe help scoring out even just a little bit?
Well, it's, you know, when you're a coach, you want to protect the 4 or 5 goalies that are in your organization, and you want to go after the other 50 or 60 that are in the league. So you have to balance it. I think the tough thing is when you go out and warm up and you see a goaltender play or during the game, and then you're walking out and you shake his hand. He may be on the other team, and you shake his hand on the way out, and you don't even recognize the guy. That's not the same guy that was playing. Or where's the rest of them? If you ask that question, then you know that the equipment is probably getting puffed up quite a bit. So they have a tough job. They're very good at it, and you know, center should cheat, and D-men should cheat somehow, and forward should cheat, and the goalies are trying. I wouldn't say they're cheating, but they're trying to gain an advantage, and why wouldn't they? So you know, as we move forward, and equipment does get reduced, does it up the scoring? I don't know. We'll find out.
Do you feel sorry for goalies back in the day when you were playing then, and what they had to wear?
I wasn't that far back. Like, they actually wore masks and helmets. Like,
Just the goalies on here.
yeah, exactly. Well, the game, you watch old video, and you know, I remember Chelly. I'll tell a story real quick. Chelly wanted to be on the power play in Detroit when I was there in my first year, and he came in and he had a VHS tape of himself, and he put it in the machine and let it run in the coach's office. and Chelly was scoring power play goal after power play goal. And, but then we started to look at the goaltenders, and they had these little brown strips of leather on their legs, and they were making toe saves. Nobody went into the butterfly or anything like that. So the game has really changed. Technically and coaching-wise, it's probably been the biggest change in any position in the game has been the goaltending. And they study it, they watch it, they know players' tendencies, they, you know, systems are built around goaltenders sometimes. So they've really got good. Louis, what did you see when you went in on them?
I certainly didn't see net. Crest.
Crest.
Would you change, with the way that hockey is coached change if there were, say, 3 more goals per game? Would the focus be more on generating offense as opposed to now where it's sort of preventing goals against?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. Coming out of the lockout in 05, it was my first year in Detroit, we had 550, I think, power plays. 550 power plays in 1 year because they were clamping down. The game changed then, and we all had to adjust, and it went for a little while, and then we adjusted. 3-on-3 began, and nobody knew what to do or how to do it. Now we've kind of all adjusted. We know what it might feel like, what it might look like, where some of the errors are made, so we begin to coach it a little bit. You know, if there's 2 or 3 more goals scored in a game, we'll probably figure out a way to coach it. Is it coaching on the offensive side or defensive? I don't know. I don't know where it'll go.
Do you think it's natural tendency to look at preventing rather than scoring goals? And is there a way to change that mentality in hockey overall?
Well, I believe you can teach offense. I think players want they want that part of the game. Almost every training camp, you come to camp, you start in the D zone. We do it a little bit differently. But there are ways to teach offensive concepts. And I think the NHL gets that. And I think every team is trying to help their players. So I don't think it ends there. I don't know what's happening in leagues underneath us. It's just the players are so good. They're so athletic. They're so well positioned. The goaltenders are elite. They're good. They're good at defending. Your fourth line player now can defend. Your fourth line player might not be able to score 15 or 20, but they can sure defend. Makes a world of difference.
Thank you.